The N64's best-looking games often succeeded by having a unique and consistent art style rather than for their photorealism. And games that used the expansion pack had access to more RAM, which allowed for higher resolution modes, more detailed textures, and better special effects. Welcome to the Game Closet, and in this video, we'll be highlighting some of the N64's visually stunning titles beyond the typical Super Mario and Zelda titles. There may be a gem here you'll want to grab for your collection. And for those of you who pre-ordered the Analogue 3D, these games will look more fantastic than ever before in stunning 4K when your console arrives. But more about the Analogue 3D later in this video. So let's jump into the polygon days of the mid-1990s and play some beautiful Nintendo 64 beauties.
Who the f*** are you?
Turn my Atari!
There yet.
So developed by the legends at Rare, this game just has this incredibly clean and bright look. A lot of the N64 racers from this era could be a little rough around the edges, but Mickey Speedway has this polished, almost cartoon-like vibe that just holds up. And the tracks themselves are a real treat. They're all based on real-world spots across the USA, like cruising through the streets of New York or tearing down Route 66. It gives each race a distinct feel that's a nice change of pace from your typical fantastical Mushroom Kingdoms or toy box racetracks. The character models and animations are great too. Every time you see Mickey, Donald, or Goofy behind the wheel, they just pop right off the screen. Even though we had a ton of great kart racing games on the 64, I think Mickey Speedway delivers an awesome experience with both its charming visuals and killer gameplay. It's definitely more than just a clone. Now don't get me wrong, I love Mario Kart 64 and Diddy Kong Racing just as much as anyone, but Rare sprinkled in their classic developer magic here. It makes Mickey Speedway a total blast, whether you're playing alone or with the whole family zooming around and burning up the tracks. The control feels super tight, the weapons are chaotic, and a ton of fun. Well, like most of the racers out there, but Rare, like I said, they sprinkled in something a little special, and that sense of speed is fantastic here. It's truly a game that holds its own, and if you haven't played it, you should totally grab it for your collection. You won't regret it. Oh boy! I'll be honest, when the Dreamcast came out in '99, I was completely mesmerized by Toy Commander. I thought a child's toys battling it out in our giant world was just the most incredible idea ever. And even though I'd heard of the Army Men games, I never actually played one until just recently. I finally picked up Army Men Air Combat in 2025, yes, just this year, and I immediately knew I'd been missing out. For me, this game is the perfect blend of two things I loved. It has the tight helicopter action and tactical gameplay of the old Strike games on the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, but it's wrapped up in the pure charm of plastic toys at war in the real world. You're flying around a kitchen and a giant coffee maker is a landmark, or you're soaring over a sandbox and a huge shovel is part of the terrain. The scale of it all is just visually clever and it really makes the game special. It's got a unique feel that really makes it stand out on the N64, and it's a testament to how creative developers were with the hardware. You're not just flying a helicopter, you're a tiny toy in a giant, beautiful, and dangerous world.
Return to base.
I'll be the first to admit that the Dreamcast port of Hydro Thunder is visually superior and the controls are arguably way tighter than the N64 version, but honestly, there's just something to be said about the engineering marvel that the developers achieved with the Nintendo 64 port. Sure, at the time, the game got a little beat up by critics and players, but if you take it at face value, it's a cartridge game. That's fantastic all alone. This is an incredible looking game for the Nintendo 64, and it's genuinely a blast to play. The fun is absolutely here. Hydro Thunder 64 isn't the cheapest cartridge for the Nintendo 64 either, so if you can get a good deal on it, grab it. I guarantee you that when this game eventually gets upscaled to 4K on the Analogue 3D, you are going to see it shine in a whole different light. But for those of you who didn't pre-order the Analogue 3D, don't worry. You will still be getting a great experience on the original N64. This game's dynamic water effects and sense of speed are a true testament to what the console was capable of. In 1986, artist Brian F. Collin and programmer Jeff Nauman created and conceived the original arcade game Rampage. As you might imagine, I've had the pleasure of meeting Brian and can't wait to see him again. Now, the game's premise was really simple yet brilliant. 3 giant movie monsters ravage a city, destroying buildings, terrorizing citizens, and of course, smashing each other's brains in. That's it. Fast forward to 1997, and Rampage's successor, Rampage World Tour, clawed its way into arcades and our living rooms on several consoles, including the Nintendo 64. Our living rooms were never quite the same after that, and the broken furniture strewn around was all the proof we needed that we were having a blast. With the help of the N64's 4 built-in controller ports and raw power, our favorite movie monsters made a comeback. But this time they brought along a few new adversaries and a brand new storyline explaining how the monsters came to be. They also had a few new moves, and for the first time, the ability to fly from city to city, laying waste to everything that got in their way. Plus, that World Tour bonus icon let our monster friends pick a foreign country to fly to and give their cities a taste of Hollywood monster destruction. It was a great update for an amazing franchise, and it's surprisingly family friendly. My wife and 7-year-old daughter absolutely love playing it with me, and you can see my daughter playing right along with me in this game capture footage. When we talk about beautiful N64 games, we can't skip over Yoshi's story. This game's a prime example of a developer prioritizing a unique and timeless art style over trying to push for gritty photorealism. Instead of a typical 3D world, Nintendo gave us a game that looks like a living, interactive pop-up storybook. The visuals here are just gorgeous. Everything looks like it's made out of craft materials like felt, cardboard, fabric, and cotton balls. The characters and enemies have this soft, fuzzy texture to them, and the environments are filled with paper cutouts that give the world a wonderful sense of depth. It's an aesthetic that holds up incredibly well even today and still feels completely unique. The gameplay is just as charming as the visuals. Each level is a storybook page, and your goal is to make Yoshi happy by eating a certain number of fruits. Now, it's worth mentioning that this game didn't get a lot of praise from critics at the time, especially when compared to its predecessor, Yoshi's Island. They often criticized it for being too easy and too short, but I'll be the first to admit I'm not very good at these types of games, and I still found Yoshi's story to be absolutely charming. Yes, this is me actually playing the game, although I'm not very good at it, but it's just a very charming game, and I was actually quite enamored by it. It's a wonderfully relaxing and joyful experience that proves you don't have to be a pro to fall in love with a game. So if you're looking for a game that's just a pure joy to look at and play, you definitely need to get your hands on this one. Next up is Wave Race 64, and while it's the second water-based game on this list, you can easily see what a beautiful game it truly is. I'm telling you, it's just as fun as it is beautiful. When this game came out, it was a technical marvel. The water effects were absolutely groundbreaking for the time. The waves aren't just static texture, they're dynamic, they have physics, and they affect your jet ski in a very real way. You can actually see the water reflecting the sky, you can feel the jet ski bouncing off the wake of another racer, and you're constantly adjusting to the ever-changing surface. This game is very inexpensive. You could go out there and probably find one for less than $10 right now, and I'll tell you what, it's worth every penny. They also did a great job with the level design too, with courses that take you from tropical lagoons to rough, stormy seas. Every track has its own distinct look and feel, and it really shows what the N64 was capable of back then. It's a real testament to the fact that the great visual design on the console wasn't just about art style, it was about pure raw engineering too. The fun is infectious, and it's a game that still holds up and proves that the N64 could do some amazing things with water. What a fun game. Now, I'll be perfectly honest, I was never that much of a fan of the original F-Zero on the Super Nintendo, but I am a huge fan of F-Zero X. To be perfectly frank with you, I only played it for the very first time earlier this year, and I think it's one of the absolute best when it comes to how gorgeous an N64 game can be. Now, you might look at it and think the textures are a little simple or the environment's a bit sparse, but that's entirely by design. The developers sacrificed some of the raw graphical detail to achieve something much more important: an absolute blistering sense of speed. This game runs at a buttery smooth 60 frames per second, which was an incredible technical feat on the N64. When you're flying through these otherworldly looping racetracks at blindingly fast speeds, the sense of motion is what makes the visuals so stunning. It's a pure, unadulterated rush, with 30 racers on the screen at once, all zipping by in a blur of color. The game is a masterclass in how to convey speed and a spectacle on the N64's hardware. The fun and speed of F-Zero X is what makes it a beautiful game, even in 2025. I am a big fan of this game, so I can speak to this from experience. I own Ms. Pac-Man Maze Madness on the PS1, Dreamcast, Game Boy Advance, and of course, the Nintendo 64. And as you would surmise, each console, depending upon its capabilities, makes this game look and feel just as good as that console can do. This game took what worked in Pac-Man World and stepped it up a notch, including adding the ability to jump, which completely changes how you interact with the environment. It's a fantastic blend of classic Pac-Man arcade action with modern 3D adventure style. The levels are bright and colorful, and the different theme worlds all have their own unique visual flair. Now, while the Dreamcast port was the first one I owned, and I have a lot of nostalgia for, the N64 version looks great too, and I love playing this one equally. It's a testament to the developers that they were able to pull off such a solid port. I can't wait to see this one on the Analogue 3D because its imaginative visuals are going to look just fantastic in 4K. Now, Star Wars Rogue Squadron is no hidden gem by any means, but it's such a fantastic and visually stunning game that I thought it was important to put it on this list. For me, it's reminiscent of games like Shockwave Assault or even Super Wing Commander, both of which I played on the 3DO. This game, developed by Factor 5, truly pushed the N64's hardware to its limits. It's one of the few games that genuinely took advantage of the expansion pack, which allowed for higher resolution and more detailed textures. You're not just flying through a simple environment. You're soaring over vast, expansive landscapes and taking on massive Star Destroyers. The game itself has fantastic action and sticks closely to Star Wars lore, and the sense of scale is just incredible. The explosions, the laser fire, the detailed ship models, everything looks and feels like it's right out of the movies. Honestly, I've never played all the way through, and when my Analogue 3D arrives, I'm really looking forward to doing so and seeing all that visual splendor in 4K. Now, we can't get much further into this list without talking about Sin and Punishment. This game, from the masters at Treasure, came out at the very end of the N64's life cycle, and it's an absolute technical marvel. I was originally turned on to this game by my friend Pete Costello, the former owner of the legendary game store Flashback Video Games, which used to be in Amherst, Ohio. Now, Pete knew exactly the kinds of games I was into, and he'd get these Japanese imports. He actually let me take a copy for a test spin on one of the TVs right there in the store. I immediately fell in love with it, and I bought a copy on the spot. Well, that and a Japanese to NTSC converter for my N64. It's worth mentioning that while this game isn't one of those outrageously expensive cartridges, it still commands a decent price on the secondhand market. So if you find a good deal on it, I'd say jump on it. What makes this game so visually stunning is its sense of scale and non-stop action. This is an on-rail shooter that throws everything at you at once. You're constantly moving with massive, highly detailed bosses filling the screen and explosions and laser fire happening everywhere. The draw distance is impressive for the N64, and the game maintains a solid frame rate even with all that chaos on the screen. It's a testament to Treasure's programming skills that they were able to even pull this off. It's a game that really stands out in the N64 library, showing what was possible when a developer truly understood the hardware. If you want to see the Nintendo 64 push to its absolute breaking point in the best way possible, this is the game to play. It's an epic and beautiful addition to our list. And for our final game on the list, we have a classic from the arcade scene that made a solid jump to the N64, Ridge Racer 64. This game is a great example of the N64 handling a fast-paced arcade-style racer with style. It features a fantastic sense of speed and a smooth frame rate that makes the racing feel incredibly fluid. The visuals are clean and sharp with some great draw distance. You can see the twists and turns of the track stretching out in front of you, which is essential for a game that's all about high-speed drifts and hairpin turns. Now, I have to admit, I'm not great at this game so far. But that's part of the fun. Yeah, learning the tracks and crashing into stuff a lot, like I do. The cars have a really nice level of detail, and the vibrant colors of the different tracks really pop. It might not have the same flashy effects as some of the later N64 games, but the sheer performance and solid art direction make it a beautiful game in its own right. It's a testament to the fact that sometimes all you need is a great-looking game that's just pure, unadulterated fun. If you enjoyed this look at the N64's best visuals, be sure to get subscribed. The review for the Analogue 3D is on the way, and the games from this video will be featured in a side-by-side comparison. You'll see how they look on the original N64 with a RetroTink 2X Pro versus the same games running in beautiful 4K on the Analogue 3D. It's a video you definitely won't want to miss. We'll see you very, very soon. Thanks for tuning into Game Closet. If you had a good time, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. You can keep the show going by checking out one of these episodes right here. See you next time.